Hello everyone, how are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe, staying healthy. So today I have for you a fun little unboxing / review kind of video. So we're gonna be reviewing the miya gouache sets, 18 color. And I am so excited to try this baby out. I haven't opened up any of the cups yet or anything, but I'm so excited. I've been wanting to get one of these sets for the longest time because the gouache that I had before came in tubes and I always felt like I was wasting paint, and it just wasn't as convenient for me as I would like it to in a palette. So that's why I ordered this baby, and so we're just gonna go ahead and unbox it and see what's up. Alright, let's open this baby up. So it has these two little clasps on the side. Keep it nice and secure, and it's actually a lot heavier than I thought it would be. Like, it's like a freaking cinder block. Like, not that bad, but it's pretty heavy. So this is how it looks in the back. As you can see here in this corner, it shows the colors here, but they're all in Chinese, or Mandarin, so we can't really read it, but that's okay. And I just love this color so much, this beautiful yellow color. Okay, so that's what the inside looks like, and it comes with this palette you can take out like so. So as this palette, we'll set it aside over here. This is the cover, keeps it nice and sealed. And now we have our jelly cups. So I'm just gonna open each of them one by one. Okay, let's start from down here. That's better. Okay, and let's go ahead and open them. Hello everyone. Welcome to a Voiceover Mahalit. So I've never done voiceover before, but we're here. So during this process of opening up all of the gouache cups, it was honestly such a hassle. Like, I'm sure you can see through the footage that the paint just got like all over my hands, and I had to use scissors and all of this stuff, especially that freaking yellow cup. Oh my goodness, like, wow, it was so freaking difficult. This process, it was kind of fun, but overall it was kind of stressful because the paint kept threatening to squeeze out everywhere if I didn't hold it right. So I would say that was one of the cons for the miya gouache cups. Just opening them is kind of a hassle, and yeah, I did not really enjoy that process that much. And so here you can see I was just rearranging the colors of the gouache cups to order that I'm more familiar with. So usually, like how I set up with my watercolors, I put like whites in the top and then kind of like a rainbow almost, but not really. So there is the setup. That's just how I like to have my colors laid out. I think it looks nice and pleasing to look at. Alrighty, so I put away all of the gouache containers in here, and I'm just going to be swatching from the seals of the jelly cup so I don't waste any paint. Alright, so let's get to swatching. So we're going to start off with the white. Sorry you can't really see this, but I promise it's not that interesting. Okay. Alright, just your basic white. Nice, nice. Probably can't see it. So what I really like about this palette, I'm sure a lot of people who reviewed this gouache set have said before, but I really like how they give 2 containers of white because I use so much white gouache paint. So it's always nice and comforting to have some extra paint that's given. And I heard that there are 2 different versions of white, but I really don't see the difference. I think somebody said one is titanium white and one is regular white. I don't really know. I'm not very experienced on the different shades and such. As you can see, I'm just and immature, as they say. So I don't really know that much about it, but I just think it's fun. So yes, I like this. I really like the colors that they gave, and I love this vibrancy. Oh my goodness, so nice. This is definitely so much smoother than the Reeves wash that I usually work with. At least that's what it seems like. Maybe I'm just biased, I don't know. But they're very silky smooth, very fun and nice to work with. And oh, that's nice. I honestly think these are pretty good quality for the amount that's given, and they give so much. Like in one container, it's 30 milliliters. And that's a lot compared to what the tubes usually give you. Usually they're like 50 milliliter, I think, and those get very expensive very quickly. So I think this is a really good cheaper, less expensive alternative. I just don't like when people say cheaper, because then it makes it seem like, oh, it's cheaper, it's not meant for the talented people. Like I don't know why, I just don't like when people say something is cheaper, but rather just say that it's less expensive, because these are less expensive. I think the time I bought it was $25, and that's a pretty good price in my opinion. So I'm just swatching these colors, starting out with the most opaqueness up here, and then just diluting it down with water just to see how it reacts. And I'm gonna keep this in my gouache palette so that I can see what each of the colors look like. This is a nice, like, rosy kind of scarlet look. I'm living for it. I also think it's kind of nice that you can see the water being rinsed down there. It's kind of nice. Also, you would not believe how many things I have stacked in front of me right now for my filming set. It's a lot. I'll put that. It's a lot. So right now, I think I'm like the master of Jenga, because wow, this is not good. Oh, that's so nice. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, I love that color. Usually I don't like stuff that's very vibrant, or like I used to not like stuff that's very bright, vibrant, but I'm living for this. Yes, give it to me. And I've never had this kind of shade of purple before, so that's pretty interesting. So yeah, I was so excited to get this gouache set because I really wanted something in a palette, like I said before. Wow, I love this blue so much. I love me some good, deep, rich blues. That just looks so nice. And for the paper that I'm using, this one is kind of like a crappy paper, but because I didn't want to use my good paper for this. So usually the paper I use is either my sketchbook paper, or I use Fluid 100 paper. That's also really nice. It's like kind of a cheaper version of Arches, or I won't say cheaper, a little bit less expensive than Arches, but it's still really good quality. And that's what I've been using in terms of paper, but this is just like some scrap paper. I just wanted to put the colors down and then move on. So yeah, one of my concerns with this palette that I've been like researching a lot about is how long these gouache cups last for, because usually since gouache is in a tube, they last a lot longer since they dry out very quickly when you put it on an exposed palette. So I was researching, and originally, as you can see in the beginning footage, I was just like opening them halfway, but then I was like, that's a bit inconvenient because I like to have like full grasp of the gouache that I'm working with. So I was looking it up and people were saying like as long as you leave the palette closed whenever you're not using it, then it should last pretty long. And even so, sorry about that. A huge truck just went by. As I was saying, even people are saying like it might get dried up a little bit at the top, but you can just spray some water to reactivate it. So I might make a video in the future, like a couple months from now, just to see how the gouache set holds up. But I plan on using this set pretty often, so we'll see how it'll look in, let's say, in 3 months' time. I'm not a big fan of the screen. It's a bit muted. I don't know how to feel about it, but it's okay. I'll figure out a use. Probably be good for like leaves and such. I'm so happy. I was most excited about this yellow ochre color. I think it's called yellow ochre. Oh my gosh, I love this color. Like in my watercolor set, this is the color I use probably almost every time I paint because I just love it so much. So I'm very happy that this came in the gouache set as well. Ugh, just look how rich and like vibrant it looks. Wow, what a queen. So I'm just a bit nervous because I really want to use up all the paint on these seals, so I just really don't want to waste any paint. But also I don't know how I'm gonna keep them all together because they can't just be free fall on my desk, so I don't know. But we'll see, we'll see. I just wish there was a better way to seal them, I guess, because it leaves so much paint on the top and it's really a lot. I might just scrape it back into the cups, but that might be too messy of a process for me, so we'll see. So yeah, let me know in the comments. Okay, all right then. Thanks a lot. This freaking huge truck keeps zooming by. So yeah, apologies for the outside noise, but what can you do? That's a nice black. I don't know why I say that because the all black pigmented paints look the same, but I don't know, it's always satisfying to have like a really opaque black paint. Alrighty, so oops, so those are our swatches. Well, I hope the noise outside isn't too much, because we're just gonna keep it going. So I think what I'm gonna do is mess around with these a little bit, and let's see. I think I'm gonna try to make like a mini kind of painting to demonstrate what can be done with these gouache sets. So I'll be back in a few minutes, and we'll just do a time lapse of the painting. So, yep. Alrighty, so I assessed my resources to see what I could paint on, and I found I have this little tiny gesso board, so I'm just gonna sketch out a little something small. I just want to paint something very short and quick, just to get a hand of the gouache and not take it too seriously. So if you'd like, I'm gonna leave my Pinterest board in the description so you can see what I'm, oh, excuse me. So you can see what I'm painting from. And so yeah, I'm just gonna sketch it out right here and get to painting. Alrighty, so for this sketch here, usually how I lay out my sketches is I just lay out the basic shapes of the portrait to try to get a basic grasp of what I'm drawing. And like I said before, this is just a photo off of Pinterest. Just a nice colorful photo I just wanted to base off of and just mess around with the gouache a little bit. I've also been thinking about how I really need to get a better setup for my camera, because I'm sure you can see in the corner that is the beginning of the stack of items to hold my camera. So I really just need like a tripod or something, because it's like every second if I just slightly bump into that setup, then it will just collapse. So it was not the most enjoyable thing, but I mean it held up pretty okay, so that was alright. So with this gouache set, I think I've just noticed, of course here I'm just working with the seals to use up as much paint as possible, but later on you'll see that I end up using up the seals, or using up the gouache on the seals, and I end up having to actually open up the gouache set to use up those paints. But honestly, I was just thinking about how important it is to have materials that you really enjoy working with and that you really love to work with, because I noticed, like, it's been a couple of days since I've recorded this video, and I just really noticed how much more I'm using gouache now that I have a set that's easily accessible and it works really nicely, and I don't have to squeeze out tubes every 5 seconds and worry about wasting paint. So that's just one of the things I think is really important with art supplies. Like, I don't think it matters that much about the cost, or, I mean, of course, if it's like extremely expensive, then maybe it's not the best choice. But I just honestly think, like, even if it's on the air quotes cheaper end or less expensive end, it's still, if it makes you happy and it really makes you feel excited to create and want to create as many pieces as possible with your supplies, then just go for it, because that is what this gouache set is to me. So I've been painting so much more in my sketchbook and creating a lot more pieces just because having all of these sets laid out and accessible to me just really motivates me to want to work more and to practice using this gouache set a lot more. So it's just really exciting to use, honestly, and I'm just so happy with how much I'm enjoying using this paint set. As you can see, my process usually begins with diluting the gouache almost to like practically like to a watercolor state, to lay down the base colors just so I can get a good idea of what's going on and what are the basic areas that I want to color. And then as the layers start to build, the gouache becomes more and more opaque, or I make it more opaque, and that's how usually my layering process. But with this painting, honestly, the first few layers were so rough, like so rough to work with, because I was just getting so frustrated because, I'm saying because a lot, I was just getting so frustrated since a lot of the colors, whenever I try to layer them, it would not work well together and it kind of become really streaky for some reason. And I feel like that's more of a user error, that's more on my part. And I think it's also a lot because of the surface I was working on, because now I've been using gouache on my watercolor paper and it's definitely not as problematic as it was here. But let me tell you, I was so close to giving up with those first few layers. Oh my goodness. So yeah, for painting supplies with this gouache, or with gouache in general, I think the best materials to use are paper or watercolor paper, a really nice thick one, because honestly with the board it works alright, but it really doesn't get as much, it's not as easy to blend and layer as it is on paper. So that's just what I would recommend. I guess the gesso board, I actually really like how it looks, but just for easy to use, to make it easier to use, I would suggest using watercolor paper instead. Another thing I really struggled with was painting the wall in the background. It was like kind of a mural in the background, I think, and it has some really opaque, vibrant, bright colors, but I just could not get it to work that well. I mean, the thoughts in my head while I was painting this, I was like, oh my goodness, why isn't this layering? Because especially with that arch in the top with the white, it was just not wanting to layer at all whatsoever. And so I really just had to be patient, and yeah, as you can see, it was a lot of the blue kept coming up and blending with that, which I guess has an okay look, but I was just annoyed in general. So pretty much what I'm saying is, whenever you're starting out with gouache, just understand that there are going to be ugly stages almost every single time that you paint in general, because you have to just keep in mind and be patient and understand that it takes layers and layers and layers to get where you want to be. And that's just something I had to remind myself throughout the process of painting this. Alright, you guys, so sorry I had to cut away for a bit because 1, my phone was about to die, and 2, I just like needed to take a second and pause and turn off the camera to work on it a bit more because I was getting a bit frustrated. But aside from that, we are done with our painting. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think in the beginning I was a bit like iffy, but of course like I had to remind myself that I was going through like the ugly stage and it would take a while to get to the nicer stage of using gouache. So yeah, this is how it turned out. So I'm really happy with how it looks. I think at first I was trying to figure out what needed a bit of like oomph to it. So I added like an outline around her and then the sparkles, and of course you know me, I love my sparkles. So there's a little zoom in just so you can see the details. I really like how her how her face turned out, and it took a while, but like I think I like how it's like simple but you understand what's going on. So there we go. I also like the bottom half too. I'm pretty happy with all of it. So overall, I really think the miya gouache set was really awesome to work with because it just came out really nice and smooth, and like this is my palette here. I just really like how all the colors work together, and they're all very vibrant and very smooth and creamy. And the only issues I had with it were that it's good with blending, but it's not good for, at least for me, it might also be the surface I was working on, but it wasn't very good for like layering direct colors on top of each other because, like for example, I'm sure you saw in the video, and some of the areas just in the background on the wall, I really just wanted to be like very defined shapes, but whenever I would try to paint a bit more over it, it would kind of reactivate the paint underneath, which I know that's like how gouache is supposed to be, like it reactivates the paint underneath. So that was just like a bit of a learning curve. But other than that, it was fine, it was good. I think definitely a lot more satisfying to work with than my previous Reeves gouache that I would work on before. So yeah, and so I was able to use the seals of the jelly cups for like the beginning painting process, but then they dried out really quickly just because they're very thin layers, and so when paint is thinner it dries out quicker. So I'll show what the inside looked like. And then throughout the process I would like close the lid so that it could not dry out completely. So this is what they look like. Of course still the same. I put the seal back on this other white so that it could stay wet and juicy because I just didn't want it to be dried out at the same time when this one runs out, and then I'd be screwed. So there's like a little bit of a dried film around the edges, but it's really like definitely not that bad. So I know in the future I'll definitely cover the lid more, and Also, I know that you can reactivate the paint by spraying water over it and then it'll just be just fine. So yes, I think overall my experience with the gouache was really nice. I really enjoyed working with it, and I had a really fun time. Yep, I think that's pretty much it. Be sure to thumbs up, give me a thumbs up if you like the video, subscribe to my channel for more content like this. I'm going to be doing another kind of review video like this for Paul Rubens watercolor, because I got that set as well, which I'm so excited to use also. So let me know if you want to see a video like that. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions about the set, how to use it, price differences, my supplies that I was using, all that good stuff. You can put it in the comments. Also, if you'd like to follow me on Instagram, follow me at Camomiles. You can see more of my work up there. And that's pretty much it. I hope you guys stay well, stay healthy, stay hydrated, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!